everyone, it's Katie and I'm here today with a tutorial of how to make a ribbed stitch throw blanket. You've obviously seen the blanket in the thumbnail. I just wanted to mention that there is a written version of this pattern, which is on my Etsy shop for 99 cents if you're interested. So I'll start with showing you the two blankets I've made using this pattern. So this is the first one, and this blanket is using the Premier Puzzle yarn in the color Cat's Cradle, and this is what it looked like. I had to use 4 of these. This is what's left of the 4th ball of yarn, so you'll need 4 if you're using this type of yarn, and this is the one that I made the pattern, the written pattern based off. So I wrote this pattern as I did this blanket. And the only difference between this one and the one I'm about to show you is that this one does have a border around it. And now this next blanket is the one that I make throughout this video that you'll see me working on. And this is the final product of that blanket. Very, very pretty. I love it a lot. It's also super heavy with the type of yarn I used. Much heavier than that one, even though it's the same stitching and everything. But very, very nice blanket. So for this type of yarn, this was the Crimson Big yarn. This is what it looks like, and this is in the color Chrome. Now this was my 6th ball of yarn. I only had to use this for the last like 4 rows, so there's still quite a bit of it left. As you can see, I've kept all of the ones that I've used. So there's 5 here, and then that was the 6th one. And just for reference, I'll put the size of both things of yarn and how many I used in the description, as well as the link for the written pattern. But just in case you need a more in-depth tutorial on how to do a certain stitch, they'll be in the description. So now I'm going to show you the other materials that you'll need for this. So the other materials are a crochet hook. This one is an H hook, 5mm, and this is what I used for both blankets. Then you'll need some scissors and a yarn needle to weave in your ends. Now I suggest a small yarn needle because it's easier to work with. I did try using this yarn needle at the beginning because I thought on the video it'd be easier for you guys to see me threading through the bigger hole, but that was really hard to get through the stitches, so you'll see later that I do use this one, but I suggest a smaller one like this, and you can also get a metal one, just whatever type you have or prefer. And I did just want to let you guys know there is going to be links in the description for how to do each type of stitch I'm showing you in this video, and there's going to be links for all the materials that I used for this. Now that you guys have seen what the blanket will look like and all the materials you'll need, let's get on with the tutorial. To begin, you want to start by pulling the yarn from the center of the yarn ball. Now find the end of the yarn and we're going to create a slip knot. To do this, you're going to create an X shape on your 2 fingers. And now you're going to grab the end and pull it through the hole. And I'll show you one more time how to do this. Again, you want to wrap the yarn around your 2 fingers to create an X shape, and then pull through the yarn to create a slip knot. you can just pull on the yarn to make the slip knot smaller, and now you're going to grab your crochet hook and insert it into the slip knot. Now pull on the yarn to make it tighter, and you're going to yarn over using the working end and pull through a loop to create a chain. Now you'll repeat this 121 times, and I will see you once this is complete. Now I'm going to chain the last chain, and now we're going to start doing half double crochets for our first row. So you're going to yarn over, insert into that second chain from the hook, and then you're going to pull up a loop, and you're going to yarn over again and pull through all 3 of the loops that are on your hook. And I'll show you this a few more times. Again, you're going to yarn over, insert, yarn over again, and pull through a loop. And now yarn over one more time and pull through all 3 loops that are left on your hook. Now you want to do this in every chain until you get to the end, and at the end you want to chain 1. Now that we are at the end of the row, we're going to do a half double crochet one more time into that last chain, and now you're going to chain 1 and turn. So now that we've turned the blanket, we're going to yarn over, and in this first stitch we're going to work under the 2 loops, still working in half double crochets. And now for this next stitch, we're going to look at the top and you'll see a V shape, and you only want to work into that back loop of the V shape. So you're going to yarn over, insert, and then pull up a loop, yarn over again, and pull through the 3 loops to create a half double crochet. And we're going to continue this throughout the whole rest of this row, and for 8 more rows after this one, which will create 9 rows of half double crochet in the back loop, 10 rows of half double crochet. For the first and last stitch of each row, I always did that stitch under both loops, not just the back loop, and then at the end of each row, make sure you chain 1 and turn. When I'm at the end of row 10, I will finish it off with you guys and we'll start the next type of stitch. So now I am almost done with row 10, and as you can see we have a foundation row, we have our first row of half double crochets, and then we have 9 rows of half double crochets in the back loop. Now that we're at the end of the 10th row, we're going to continue to place those half double crochets in the back loop. Now I'm just doing this in the last stitch, but for the last stitch of each row, remember that I go under both loops instead of just the one loop. That way there's less of a gap. And at the end of this row, you're going to chain 1 again and turn. Now that we've chained 1 and turned, we're going to do a half double crochet, and for this first stitch it's going to be under both loops. So you're going to yarn over, insert, yarn over again, and pull through, yarn over one more time, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over again and pull through 2, and there you have a half double crochet. And I'll show you a few more times, but this time the second stitch is going into the back loop. So you pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through 2 again. One more time, you yarn over, insert your hook only in the back loop this time, and then yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over again and pull through 2. And now you're going to do this for the rest of this row and for 9 more rows after that to give you 10 rows of double crochet in the back loop. And once you get to the end of each row, remember that you want to do the double crochet under 2 loops in that last stitch, and then you want to chain 1 and turn to go into the next rows. Now at this point I'm about to run out of yarn, so I'm going to show you how to incorporate a new ball of yarn. And make sure that you leave a long tail for doing this. Now I'm going to take the existing yarn and yarn over and insert into my next stitch, but only in the back loop. And then I'm going to take the new ball of yarn and make a loop with my fingers. And I'm going to place it on my hook. And now I'm just going to continue to do a double crochet like you normally would, but using the new ball of yarn. Now once I've done a few more stitches, I'm going to flip the blanket over and tie the 2 loose ends in a knot just to make sure it's secure, and the knot will just blend right into the blanket. Once you've secured the yarn, you can continue on using your new yarn ball until you get 10 rows of double crochet done, and that will make a total of 20 rows on your blanket so far. So now we're at the end of the 10th row of double crochet in the 20th row in general. So I'm going to complete this double crochet in the back loop and then do this last double crochet but under the 2 loops. And once I've done that, I'm going to chain 4 and turn. Now that we've turned, we're going to yarn over twice. Now we're going to insert the hook under the 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. And that completes the treble crochet. Now you're going to repeat this stitch in the back loops for the rest of this row, and in the last stitch of the row you want to make sure that you do it under the 2 loops. And at the end of the row you're going to chain 4 and turn, and you're going to repeat this row again for 9 more times for a total of 10 treble crochet rows, and that will make a total of 30 rows on your blanket. Now I'm at the end of row 30, so I'm going to complete the last 2 treble crochets. And keep in mind I did have to add a new ball of yarn, but I didn't show this on camera because it's the same process that I showed earlier. And to keep the video shorter, I only showed how to do this once throughout the video. So now we're completing that treble crochet and we're going to chain 1 and turn. So from here, I'm going to do half double crochets for the next 10 rows. So this first one is going under both loops, and then the next ones will all be going under the back loop. And yet again, at the end of this row, the last stitch you'll go under the 2 loops and chain 1, and then repeat this row 9 more times for a total of 10 rows, and you will have 40 rows completed on your blanket after this. So now we're at the end of row 10, so I'm going to complete this half double crochet in the back loop, and then I'm going to do one more half double crochet under the 2 loops right here, and then we're going to chain 1 and turn. So now I'm going to do 1 double crochet in this first stitch, and then in all the next stitches it will be 1 double crochet in the back loop until you get to the end of the row. Then the very last stitch will yet again be 1 double crochet, but this time it will be under both loops. And once you've completed that, you're going to chain 1 and turn and repeat this whole row again. And you're going to do this row 9 more times for a total of 10 rows. And right now I'm doing that second to last double crochet in the back loop. And now I'm going to do the last double crochet under the 2 loops. And now I'm going to chain 4 and turn. Yet again, we're going to do 10 rows of treble crochet. So the first and last stitch will be under 2 loops, while all the rest of the stitches of each row will be under just the back loop. And at the end of each row, you will chain 4 and turn until you get to row 10, and I will see you at the end of row 10. So now we're at the end of the 10th row of treble crochets. So I'm just doing this second to last treble crochet under the back loop, and then this last treble crochet will go under 2 loops. And once I've done this, I'm going to chain 1 and turn. So now that we're turned, I'm going to do double crochets for 10 more rows. So this first double crochet is going under both loops, and the last double crochet of this row will go under both loops, and all the stitches in between will be into the back loop. And at the end, you want to chain 1 and repeat this pattern for 9 more rows to create 10 rows of double crochet. So now we're at the end of the 10th row of double crochet. I'm going to do 1 double crochet in the back loop of the second to last stitch, and now I'm going to go under the 2 loops here for this last stitch and double crochet again. And now you're going to chain 1 and turn. So now we're going to do half double crochets. So the first and last stitch of each row will be under both loops, and then every stitch in between will be under the back loop. And at the end of each stitch, you will chain 1, and you want to do this a total of 10 times. So after this row we're working on, it'll be 9 more times, and after that, we'll be done with the blanket. So now we're going to do the last 2 half double crochets of the 10 rows. So this second to last one goes in the back loop, and this last one goes under the 2 loops. So now we're going to finish off, and to do this we're going to cut the yarn, leaving a pretty long tail. Then you're going to take your crochet hook and thread that piece that we just cut through what's left on your hook, and then tighten it. So now we're going to weave in the ends, and you want to grab your yarn needle. You're going to take the yarn that's hanging off of the blanket and thread it through the eye of the needle. And once you've done this, you're going to tie a knot. And now we're going to begin to thread this through the blanket. And if you're using a yarn that has different colors, you want to make sure that you thread this portion through the part that is the same color. That way it doesn't stick out. You're just going to thread this through. And now I've gotten pretty far down the blanket, and I'm just going to go up in the opposite direction now to thread through. And the whole purpose of this is so when you wash the blanket, the ends will stay in and not come undone. So just continue with this. Once you're happy with the amount of yarn you weaved through, you can cut off the excess, but be careful that you only cut that and not the actual blanket. And now if you pull on the blanket a little bit, it should get hidden within it. And now you're going to do this in every spot you had to join yarn and at the beginning and end of the blanket. And once you've done this, you're done. Alright you guys, I hope you enjoyed making this blanket with me. If you do make this blanket, please tag me in your photos on social media because I would love to see them. All my social media is at Katie Being Creative, and they are all linked in the description. Please subscribe and turn on post notifications. That way you will know every time I upload a video. I will be trying to upload videos consistently every Friday, so please keep a lookout for that. With all that said, if you have any questions, please message me through social media or leave them in the comments down below. And I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!